Hello, I'm Judith Richards. I'm the creator of the Richards Trauma Process, or TRTP. Are you a mental health or health professional who's sitting in front of your clients, your patients every day and finding that more and more of them are actually presenting with what's pretty obviously a trauma-related issue? Are you finding that you don't feel confident that you have the tools to actually assist your client to fully resolve that? Because so many people are appearing with issues that seem to be the issue, but they're not the issue. It's actually the initial trauma or traumas that's the real issue, that's causing the presenting problem as just the symptom. If this is you, you're in the right place. I think you'll be interested in what I'm going to share with you. So if we're going to understand how to resolve the trauma, we need to talk about what is trauma. What happens when there's a traumatic event? And can we take away the word trauma, because most people think of war, refugees, emergency services, but we don't necessarily think about the houses. I won't call them homes, but the houses that are war zones, the families that live at war with each other, the early experience of domestic violence, neglect, etc. So if we take away the word trauma and say distressing events, it gives us a much better idea of what we're dealing with here. So let's look at what actually happens when there's a distressing event. Let's begin though with looking at what happens in a normal, balanced system when there is a distressing event. Okay, so many people actually who are balanced live here at calm. They go along, they have a distressing event. The body produces adrenaline, other stress hormones, the event passes, and they self-regulate. They don't have to try, their system just goes back to normal. They have a life-threatening event, they come up here to fight, flight, and freeze. The event passes, and this is key. Without having to do anything, they self-regulate. And that's the story of their life. What happens though is that sometimes the self-regulation switch is not going on. Sometimes the person gets stuck up here, triggering continually. So let's talk about, why does that happen? Why do they not self-regulate? What's happened here? So let's talk about what actually happens in the body. This person has had the distressing event and they've released the adrenaline, etc. But what has happened here is that the brain has become overwhelmed with the adrenaline, the other stress hormones, the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, for taking an event and saying it's over, putting it into long-term memory and shutting the door on it so that we can move on, so that we can self-regulate because it's over. That just doesn't happen. It just switches off and it doesn't come back on again. So what happens to that memory? Where is it stored? It's stored in the unconscious in the form of a videotape loop that's continuing. It's never brought to an end. It's never put in memory and the door closed. Instead, in the unconscious, it's going all the time. And what does the unconscious do? The unconscious runs every chemical reaction, every electrical response in the body. And so it's behaving. It's telling the body, it's giving the body the signal, this is happening now. So of course the body is in that state as if it's happening now. Consciously we know. You know, the Black Saturday bushfire was years ago. I should get over it. I want to get over it, but it won't let me go. Why? Because it's running in the unconscious all the time. It's happening now and my body is responding as if it's happening now. It only breaks through into the conscious mind up here in extreme PTSD. It breaks through in the form of flashbacks, a lived experience of the previous event. But for other lesser degrees on that scale of distress, so you can say anxiety peaking with panic attacks, you know, everyday garden variety anxiety. It's a spectrum of the same thing caused by the same cause that leaves the whole being screaming, I'm not safe. So what do we do about it? It's stuck up there, the self-regulation has turned off. All these events, and it's not just one. I mean, even for the Black Saturday bushfires, it's like the distress of life builds up. All these different videos, from the event when I was 6, and the one when I was 12, and the one when I was 18, and then the one when I was 22, and then it's like the distress of life builds up like the pressure in a balloon. And then it blows out. It blows out into anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, lupus, that have been very connected, been shown to be very connected to trauma. And it can be a catastrophic event that causes the blowout, as in the Black Saturday bushfires. Or it can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But we do blow out wherever we're going to into depression, anxiety, physical illness, pseudo-stroke, psychogenic issues. But you can only put so much pressure on for so long when someone's not self-regulating, and then something's got to give. Something has to give. So all the spectrum of anxiety, from garden variety anxiety to PTSD, the whole being is screaming, I'm not safe. Same for depression. It's just that this is in a hyper-aroused state of anxiety, and it's a spectrum from low to high. And it's the same for depression, from low to high. So I'm not safe. And that's the shutdown, that's the hyper-aroused. So, but for all these conditions that our clients present with, that are trauma-related, the whole being screaming, I'm not safe, what we need to do, obviously, is to return them to here. What's happening here is this person, every time they self-regulate, the system is saying, it's over. I'm safe now. The top trauma experts, Peter Levine, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, they agree now that two things have to happen in order to bring somebody from this. I'm not safe. Why? Because dreadfulness has happened and it hasn't been stored properly. We have to bring them from I'm not safe to it's over and I'm safe now. Van der Kolk, Levine say we have to tell the body has to know it's over. But I go further, I say the unconscious has to know, because the unconscious runs every chemical reaction, every electrical response in the body. The unconscious has to know it's over and I'm safe now. And there's a difference. You can say it yourself with me and feel what happens, observe what happens in your body. You ready? It's over. And say it again. It's over. And now, let's just go a little further to it's over and I'm safe now. And observe what happens in your body, in your being. You ready? It's over and I'm safe now. And just once more. It's over and I'm safe now. And there is resolution there. But how? How do we get somebody from here, I'm not safe, to here, it's over and I'm safe now? How do we have this happen, the self-regulation back to calm, it's over and I'm safe now? It's actually very simple. You know, I was talking about the videotape loops that build up, that pressure in the balloon, all these videotape loops of dreadfulness that's happened to us in the past. Doesn't it just stand to logical good sense that if we could turn off those videotape loops, the pressure would reduce in the balloon and the symptoms, because that's what they are, the symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, depression, pseudostrokes, chronic regional pain syndrome, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, lupus. If we turn off those videotape loops, which reduces the distress in the balloon, reduces the distress in the organism, the symptoms simply disappear. As we get to that low distress, we tell the body and the unconscious and everything to do with those events. Everything within you that has something to do with that time can now return to calm. Feel it. And we watch as sometimes the Parkinson's-like tremor of extreme PTSD just disappears and never returns, as people often lose years from their face, from their body. And the whole system is returned to calm. It's over, and I'm safe now. We do this with TRTP in the second of 3 sessions. By the end of the second session, the client is at this point. It's over, and I'm safe now. And in the 3rd session, we create the future. Because people stuck here are not future focused. So TRTP is a 3-session process, sometimes 4 sessions. It's fast, it's effective, it's long-lasting. I've followed some people for 7 years. And it's very, very safe. People are not re-traumatized at all. In fact, we don't even want them to tell the story. We don't need the story. And a lot of people say, well, that's too good to be true. A lot of people still believe that PTSD is incurable. Recently, I had a call from last year now, time flies. I had a call from a psychiatrist in Melbourne. He said, I work at a major psych hospital in Melbourne. I'm in charge of the trauma unit. I'm a PTSD expert. I'm published. I'm a name. I'm supposed to be an expert and know what I'm doing. And I've been working with this client with complex PTSD every fortnight for 9 years, getting nowhere. I hospitalize him a lot to keep him alive. And we've just had our normal fortnightly appointment now. And I've rung you because I've just witnessed a miracle. In the 2 weeks since I last saw him, he went to one of your students, not even a graduate, had your 3 sessions, and has walked in today a well man. I've just witnessed a miracle. He's completely well. This is impossible. But I've seen it with my own eyes. I obviously don't know what I'm doing, so I better come and learn. But that's normal. That's what we would expect. So there are over 200 practitioners around Australia, some in other countries now, that are using TRTP every day on their clients because more and more clients are presenting with trauma-related issues. So does it work? Yes. You can contact any of our practitioners and just ask them. For other mental health or health practitioners, they're saying, well, maybe it works for them, but will it work for me? Yes, it will, because TRTP is a very simple step-by-step process. It's very logical, and we teach you how to go step by step by step. And of course, there is room within that for each person because each person is different. Each client is different. But it works. We have our own research teams working on the research at the moment. When I say our own, from within our graduate community, academics at various universities who are working to prove this process. It's only new, it's revolutionary. I've been teaching it since 2014. It takes time to prove, but we're doing it every day. If this calls you, if you lie in bed awake and frustrated, thinking about various clients, you know the sort of clients I'm talking about, those stuck in anxiety response with their panic attacks that don't seem to be moving, those ones that you're a little bit even ashamed of, that have been coming for so long without results. If you're really wanting to do something to assist your clients, investigate TRTP. Talk to some of the practitioners. Look into it more thoroughly. Because the reality is that there is a tsunami of pain out there. There are people being turned away from accident and emergency saying, I'm suicidal, and there's no beds. people who then go and commit suicide. Australia has one of the highest suicide rates in the world, the highest rate of death, the highest cause of death in 14 to 44-year-olds in Australia is suicide. And that's not counting the single car accidents and the drownings. It's epidemic. Anxiety is epidemic. Depression is shutting us down. We need to do something different, something that's fast, effective, and that works and is long-lasting and does not re-traumatize. The government is hemorrhaging with the cost. And it's not just the financial cost, is it? But the cost in our communities, the cost of pain and family breakdown. If this calls to you, investigate it. Go to the website, therichards.traumaprocess.com. Check it out. And click on the make a 20-minute appointment for a conversation to see if we're a match, to see if your work, to see if you are a match for what we're doing. Our small end point is to change how mental health is done. Join us because we have to do something different from what we're doing. It takes too long to help people. It's a 3 to 4 session process and it works. We're able to take a client by the hand and step them through to the other side of their pain. Join us. Thank you for taking the time to listen. Perhaps we'll meet. Thank you.